All right, get ready for this deep dive. We're looking into some really strange stuff. Mass cattle deaths and the supposed cause. Lightning strikes. You've probably heard about lightning striking trees, maybe even houses.
Right.
But a whole herd of cows. That's where things get really interesting.
What's fascinating here, what's fascinating is we're not talking about like a couple of cows here and there.
Right.
We're talking dozens, even hundreds in some instances.
Exactly. Like this case in Missouri that we're looking into. A farmer named Jared Blackwelder, he finds 32 of his cows dead in a field.
Wow.
He describes this sudden, intense flash of light
Okay.
and this like ear-splitting boom.
Yeah.
And then silence. And when he finally goes out to check on his herd, he finds them all dead, piled on top of each other. It's a grim scene.
Yeah.
And it gets even stranger when the vet arrives.
The vet who examined the cows was baffled. He had been working in the field for decades and said he'd never seen more than 6 cows killed by a single lightning strike in his entire career. So to find 32 dead in one spot, it just didn't add up for him.
Okay, so that's 32 cows in Missouri.
Right.
But then the secure team video we have, they bring up this case from Norway in 2016. Over 300 reindeer, all killed supposedly by lightning. And then there are other reports too, 20 cows in Texas, 19 cattle in Zimbabwe. It's starting to feel less like isolated incidents and more like a pattern, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, it is unusual. If we connect this to the bigger picture, lightning strikes are relatively common, but mass deaths of this magnitude are not.
So what are we missing here? Is it possible that lightning strikes are becoming more powerful, or are we looking at something else entirely?
That's the million-dollar question.
Right.
One possibility is that these are indeed unusually strong lightning strikes, capable of affecting a wider area than what we typically see. But then there's also the question of meteorological factors.
Okay.
Could there be changes in atmospheric conditions that are making these events more likely? We need to consider things like ground conductivity, air moisture, and even the types of lightning involved. Okay.
For instance, positive lightning, which is far less common than the negative lightning we usually see,
Right.
carries a much stronger electrical current.
Okay. So even the type of lightning could play a role here. Now, the secure team video, they seem to think there might be something more sinister at play. They even mention things like HARP and weather manipulation.
Now, you might be thinking, HARP? What does that have to do with cows?
Right.
Well, HARP stands for the High Frequency Active Auroral Research Program. It's a research facility up in Alaska that studies the ionosphere, which is basically a layer of the Earth's atmosphere. It's been a bit of a boogeyman in certain circles,
Right.
With some folks believing it's capable of all sorts of things, like controlling the weather, triggering earthquakes, even mind control.
Yeah, I've heard all sorts of wild theories about HARP. But realistically, is there any evidence to support those claims?
It's important to approach such claims with a healthy dose of skepticism. While unusual weather patterns can and do occur naturally,
Attributing these events to specific technologies like HARP or even conspiracies without solid evidence is a leap. So are we saying HARP zapped these cows?
right?
What kind of evidence would we need to see to even remotely consider that possibility?
Fair point. But even putting aside the HARP theories, there are details in some of these cases that do make you scratch your head. Like the secure team video points out that in some of these instances, there were no reported storms in the area when the cows died.
That's one of the elements that fuels the mystery here. If there's no visible storm activity,
Right.
how can we definitively say lightning was the cause? We're missing a key piece of the puzzle.
And then there's the lack of typical lightning strike indicators, like burn marks on the animals. Like they were killed instantly. But by what?
Yeah.
What would cause that kind of instant death without leaving a trace?
That's a great question. This raises a crucial point. What kind of evidence would we need to see to definitively confirm or rule out lightning as the cause in these cases? Could there be a way to analyze the site where the animals were found, study the animal remains, or even gather more detailed meteorological data to get to the bottom of this? We need solid scientific investigation to move beyond speculation.
You know, it's interesting because the secure team video also mentions how some of the animals were found in really odd positions, like piled on top of each other, almost as if they were dropped from the sky.
It is a puzzling detail, and it definitely speaks to the need for more thorough investigations in these cases.
Right.
If we truly want to understand what's happening, we need to move beyond conjecture and hearsay and look for concrete, verifiable evidence. So It's
Yep.
like trying to solve a puzzle with missing pieces.
Right.
And speaking of puzzling, the Secure Team video also brings up the topic of cattle mutilations, which has been a bit of a mainstay in UFO lore for decades.
Oh, yeah, I remember hearing about that.
Right?
Farmers finding their cattle dead with these strange, almost surgical-like incisions,
Mm-hmm.
and often with organs missing.
Right.
Definitely adds a layer of creepiness to this whole thing, doesn't it?
Indeed. And while there have been attempts to explain these mutilations through natural causes, things like predator activity
Oh, right.
or even unusual decomposition patterns,
Okay.
some of the cases remain unexplained, which of course fuels speculation about extraterrestrial involvement.
Right. So could these mass cattle deaths be connected to those mutilation cases? Could it be some kind of, I don't know, alien cattle roundup gone wrong?
Well, while it's tempting to entertain that thought, it's important to remember that just because two things happen around the same time or involve the same subjects, it doesn't necessarily mean they're related. Correlation doesn't equal causation, as they say.
True. Jumping to conclusions can lead us down some pretty wild rabbit holes. But speaking of wild, the Secure Team video also touches on that whole HARP thing again. For those of you who may not be familiar, HARP stands for the High Frequency Active Auroral Research Program. It's a research facility up in Alaska that studies the ionosphere.
And as we touched on earlier, it's become the subject of a lot of conspiracy theories, with some people believing it can control the weather or even cause earthquakes.
Yeah, I've heard all sorts of claims about HARP, everything from mind control to secret weapons testing. It's definitely a topic that captures the imagination. But if we're being honest here, is there any actual scientific evidence to support those claims?
The evidence just isn't there.
Okay.
While it's true that HARP studies the ionosphere and its effects on radio waves,
Right.
there's no scientific basis to suggest that it can manipulate weather patterns on a large scale,
Okay.
let alone cause mass animal deaths.
Okay, so if we're being realistic, we can probably rule out HARP as the culprit in these cases, right?
Based on current scientific understanding, it's highly unlikely.
All right, so we've ruled out HARP and probably those cattle mutilations as well.
Right.
If it's not lightning and it's not some top secret government project, what else could be causing these deaths? Could there be some natural phenomena we haven't discovered yet? Maybe a new disease or something?
That's certainly a possibility. Nature is full of surprises, and there's always a chance that new and unknown factors could come into play. It's also worth considering the impact of things like environmental changes, pollution, or even climate change on animal health. For instance, could these factors be contributing to a weakened immune system in cattle, making them more susceptible to sudden death, even from things that wouldn't normally be fatal?
That's an interesting point. It makes sense that if something is affecting their overall health, it could make them more vulnerable to various threats, even if those threats seem relatively minor on their own.
Exactly. It's all about understanding the interplay of these various factors. Sometimes it's not a single cause, but a combination of things that leads to these unusual events. It's rarely a simple answer, that's for sure.
You know, as we've been discussing all these different possibilities, it strikes me that there's one thing they all have in common: the importance of scientific investigation. Whether it's analyzing animal remains, studying weather patterns, or even debunking conspiracy theories, science plays a crucial role in separating fact from fiction.
Absolutely. In a world where information, misinformation, and speculation spread so easily,
Right.
it's more important than ever to rely on evidence-based reasoning and develop those critical thinking skills.
And that's what I think makes deep dives like this so interesting, right? We get to explore these unknowns, consider different perspectives, and hopefully come away with a better understanding of the world around us.
It's about embracing that curiosity, asking questions, and acknowledging that we don't have all the answers. And that's okay.
Speaking of questions, I have one for you.
Okay.
We've talked about the possibility of unknown natural phenomena, but what about the possibility of something, well, unnatural?
Okay.
What if we're talking about things that are, I don't know, unexplained, paranormal, things that go bump in the night? Could there be a connection there?
That's a question that has been debated for centuries, hasn't it? Where does science end and the paranormal begin?
Right.
It's a fascinating intersection and certainly a topic worthy of exploration.
I think it's safe to say that when it comes to these cattle deaths, we're definitely venturing into the realm of the unexplained. But that's what makes it so intriguing, right? It's a puzzle waiting to be solved.
And who knows? Maybe the answer lies somewhere beyond our current understanding of the natural world.
Maybe. And perhaps that's the biggest takeaway from all of this. The universe is a vast and mysterious place, and there's still so much we don't know. Right, so we've talked about lightning, we've talked about HAARP,
Right.
we've even talked about cattle mutilations.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're heading into the territory of some less conventional theories.
Okay.
As promised, we're venturing into the realm of those fringe theories that, while lacking scientific evidence, still capture the imagination and fuel speculation.
Exactly. And sometimes even the most far-fetched theories can spark some really interesting thought experiments.
Like, what if there are forces at work that we just don't understand yet?
Right.
What if our current scientific knowledge is just scratching the surface?
That's a good point. Our understanding of the universe is constantly evolving, and what seems impossible today could become commonplace knowledge tomorrow.
Right. So let's dive into some of these wilder theories. One that I've come across is the idea of Earth energies, or ley lines.
Okay.
Some people believe that these lines of energy crisscross the Earth, and that animals, particularly cattle, are sensitive to them.
It's a fascinating concept that draws upon ancient beliefs about subtle energies flowing through the Earth. Some proponents of this theory suggest that these energy lines can be disrupted or intensified,
Right.
causing harm to animals that graze in those areas.
So, theoretically, if a herd of cows happened to be standing on a particularly strong or disrupted ley line, it could potentially explain their sudden death.
That's the idea, although, as we've said before, there's no scientific evidence to support the existence of ley lines or their supposed effects on animals.
Right.
It falls more into the realm of folklore and esoteric beliefs.
Okay, fair enough. But for a moment, let's entertain the idea that there is something to this concept of Earth energies.
Okay.
Could these energies be influenced by external factors, such as solar flares or other cosmic events?
It's a possibility, at least within the framework of this theory.
Right.
Some people believe that solar flares and other celestial phenomena can disrupt the Earth's magnetic field, and that this disruption could then affect these hypothetical energy lines. It's a chain reaction of sorts.
So it's like a chain reaction.
Yeah.
And if those energy lines affect cattle, well, that could be your explanation for these mass deaths.
Right.
It's all very speculative, but it's interesting to consider these different angles, isn't it?
It is. It's a reminder that there's still so much we don't know about the intricate workings of our planet and the universe as a whole.
And speaking of the universe, what about the extraterrestrial hypothesis?
Right.
Could these cattle deaths be the result of some kind of alien activity?
It's a theory that's been circulating, especially in online forums and conspiracy circles.
Right.
Some speculate that these cattle are being abducted,
Right.
experimented on, or even used as a food source by extraterrestrial beings.
Yeah, I've seen those theories too. Some even suggest that the lack of burn marks or other obvious signs of trauma on the animals points to advanced alien technology being used, almost like they were beamed up or something.
It's a popular topic in science fiction and popular culture, but there's no credible evidence to support the claim that aliens are responsible for these cattle deaths.
Okay.
It's important to separate fact from fiction, especially when dealing with these kinds of extraordinary claims.
Of course, just because we haven't found evidence doesn't necessarily mean it doesn't exist, but I think it's important to approach these claims with a healthy dose of skepticism. As the saying goes, extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence.
Exactly. While it's always good to keep an open mind,
Right.
we should also be wary of jumping to conclusions without sufficient evidence to back them up.
So where does that leave us? We've explored the conventional explanations, the more fringe theories,
Right.
and even ventured into the realm of the extraterrestrial. What's the main takeaway from all of this?
I think the biggest takeaway is that we're dealing with a genuine mystery here.
Yeah.
There are many unanswered questions surrounding these cattle deaths, and
Right.
we may never have all the answers, but that's part of what makes it so fascinating, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. And even without those definitive answers, the process of exploring those questions,
Right.
considering different perspectives and engaging in that critical thinking
Yeah.
is valuable in itself.
Yeah.
It keeps those mental gears turning.
It does. It reminds us that the world is full of wonders and mysteries, and that there's always more to learn and discover.
Well said. And on that note, we'll wrap up our deep dive into these mysterious cattle deaths. We've covered a lot of ground, from the scientific to the speculative, and hopefully we've sparked your curiosity
Yeah.
and encouraged you to think critically about the world around you.
Remember, the pursuit of knowledge is a journey, not a destination. Keep asking questions, keep exploring, and keep an open mind. You never know what mysteries you might uncover.
And if you stumble upon any groundbreaking discoveries, be sure to let us know. Until next time, keep those minds curious and those imaginations open.